Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's talk about social change. And more specifically, let's talk about the one thing that fuels it all, money. Today, we're going to break down the essentials of fundraising, pulling from Kim Klein's classic book, Fundraising for Social Change. Our goal is to demystify this whole process for anyone who's ever believed in a cause.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with a question. What's the scariest part of fundraising? I mean, really think about it. For most people, it's not the spreadsheets, it's not the event planning. Nope. It's that simple, awkward, and, let's be honest, often terrifying moment when you have to actually ask for money.
And hey, if you're already kind of squirming in your seat just thinking about that, you are definitely not alone. Kim Klein, the author of the book we're talking about, she nails it. She says for a lot of us, the whole idea is, well, it's a little distasteful, even frightening. And that feeling, it's totally real. It comes from something we all grew up with, that deep, unspoken rule that you just don't talk about money.
But here's the thing. That fear, it's usually built on a massive myth, a huge misunderstanding about where charitable money actually comes from. And I'm telling you, once you get this one fact, it's a complete game changer. It changes everything.
Which brings us to what I like to call the great money myth. You know, when most people picture where nonprofit funding comes from, they think of these giant, faceless institutions, right? Big foundations with fancy names and corporations with these massive, seemingly bottomless bank accounts.
The assumption is that real fundraising is all about writing these super complicated grant proposals to land a big check from some well-known foundation or corporation. Well, that's the myth. The reality, it's not even close. And here it is, the reality. The data from Giving USA tells a story that is, frankly, stunning. You ready for this? For every single dollar that comes from foundations and corporations combined, $9 come from individuals like you and me. That's from people giving while they're alive and also through bequests, which is just money left in a will. Just let that sink in. A 9-to-1 ratio. It completely blows up what most of us think we know about giving.
And we're not talking about chump change here. This isn't just a few bucks. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars every single year. The generosity of everyday people is, hands down, the single most powerful force in the entire nonprofit sector. It's not even a contest.
Okay, so if almost all the money is coming from individuals, that begs the biggest question of all, right? Why? Why do people give? If we can figure that out, well, that's the key to everything.
Now look, people give for a ton of different reasons. Some are deeply moved by the mission. For others, it's a family tradition, something they've always done. And hey, let's be real. Sometimes you just really want that public radio tote back, you know? All of those reasons are totally valid. But there's one factor that stands head and shoulders above the rest as the real trigger for giving.
And here it is. This is probably the simplest, most overlooked truth in all of fundraising. Kim Klein says it perfectly. Few people give money without being asked. That's it. It's that simple. People give because another person, someone they know, someone they respect, someone they trust, has a conversation with them and asks them to be part of something. So this totally reframes what a donation is, doesn't it? It's not a handout. It's an exchange. Think of it this way. A donor wants something to happen in the world, say cleaning up a local river, but they can't go out and do it all by themselves. So in a way, they hire a nonprofit to get that job done for them. The donor needs the organization to do the work, and the organization needs the donor to fund it. The need goes both ways. All right, so if giving is this predictable exchange, then what? It means fundraising isn't some kind of mysterious magic. It's not something you have to be born with. It's a system. A structured, manageable process that really any organization can learn and master.
And it all starts with having your own house in order. The most successful organizations build what's called a case statement. Now, this isn't some glossy marketing brochure. Think of it more like an internal blueprint for your organization. It's the document that answers all the tough questions a smart donor might have before they even think to ask them. What's your mission? What are your goals? Where does the money go? It's all right there.
So who's in the driver's seat for all this? The board of directors. According to Klein, their job in fundraising really comes down to two things, and these are non-negotiable. First, they have to give money themselves. Period. You just can't ask other people to put skin in the game if you haven't. And second, they are ultimately responsible for making sure the rest of the money gets raised. That leadership from the top is absolutely critical.
And from there, it's all about building a relationship. This shows the journey that a good organization takes its donors on. It might start with a small impulse gift, maybe $20 at an event. But with good follow-up and by showing your impact, you can help that person become a habitual donor. Someone who gives every year because they feel like they're part of the team. And the ultimate goal, the thoughtful gift. This is where that donor becomes a true partner, making a really significant planned gift because they believe so deeply in the work.
So, let's pull all these threads together. When you realize that most money comes from people, that people give because they're asked, and that there's a clear system for building these relationships, suddenly fundraising doesn't seem so scary anymore. It actually becomes, well, empowering.
It really all circles back to this powerful idea of an exchange. Donors need organizations to make their values real in the world, and organizations need donors to make the work happen. The money isn't a plea for help, it's the fuel for the engine. You're not a beggar, you're a bridge builder, connecting someone's passion to effective action.
And when you see it like that, fundraising is totally transformed. It stops being this awkward, distasteful chore. It becomes what it actually is, the vital, necessary, and even noble work of connecting good people to good work.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. The kind of world you want to live in, it's being built right now through these exchanges. So now that you know it's a partnership, not a plea, what's your part in building it?